All right, we're out in sunny Caroline for lesson number 3 on the nunchucks. Let me cover the legals real quick. If you're under 18, if you're a minor, get your parent or legal guardian's permission to view these videos. Don't be hitting people with your nunchucks. You hit somebody with a set of nunchucks, you're going to jail for assault with a deadly weapon. Check with local and state law enforcement to make sure it's illegal to own them, and swing them at your own risk. I'm not responsible for any accidents or injuries that you might or quite possibly will have happen to you flipping these things around. All right, our first lesson, we did our basic move. Let me back on up a little bit so you can see me good. And then we added a flip to it. So by now you should be able to do this with no problem. If you can't do that much, go back to lesson 1 and 2 and check it out. Next lesson here, we're going to add a hip strike. We're just bouncing off our shoulder or either our hand. You bounce off your hand, make sure you curve that hand back so you don't break any fingers or anything like that. From the front it looks like this. And this is 2 lessons in 1. You can also add a flip to it. Catch it with the next hand. See, that goes back to your basic move. Catch it with the next hand. And you want to do the same thing. Remember when you're flipping these things to keep your elbows tucked up close to your body so you don't ding yourself on the elbow. And then if you want to add you a flip when you're doing it. One thing that's really important I hadn't covered in the other videos, I need to cover that now. Whatever you practice with one hand, make sure you practice the same thing with the other hand. You want to be real smooth with both hands, and then that'll be later on for you. It'll be an example of less is more. You learn your patterns, and then when you're doing your patterns, mix them up. You do one pattern with one hand, change to the other hand, do a different pattern, change back. That third time you can do that first pattern you did with your lead hand with your alternate hand. It looks like you're doing more, you're just kind of mixing it up. Alright, I'm going to take everything from the top and we'll do our basic move here. We'll add a flip and then we'll bounce off the hip with a flip. Next lesson we're going to do we got one more lesson to do, and then we're going to put together our first pattern. And if you don't learn anything else about flipping nunchucks, it'll appear that you really know what you're doing once you get your first pattern all down. Alright, we're going to do a real quick nunchuck demonstration. A couple of things before we get started to keep in mind. I don't recommend you hitting anybody, doing any kind of combat situations with these. If you hit somebody with a set of nunchucks, you're going to jail for assault and battery or assault with a deadly weapon or something of that nature. If you're under 18, get your parent or legal guardian's permission to view these videos, practice nunchucks. Check out your federal and local laws, state laws, and local laws on whether or not it's even legal to own nunchucks. Some places have outlawed them. And last but not least, I'm not responsible for any accidents that you might and possibly will have happen to you while you're learning to flip these things around. Later on, I'm going to do some instructional videos. I'm going to go back through the very basics of nunchucks, working your way up to a more advanced level. Highly recommend that you watch those videos instead of just getting out and trying to flip them around. I've been flipping these things for about 30 years, so it takes a little while. It takes a little practice. Been doing some comedy stuff lately, and you may check out some of my other videos, but back to more serious stuff. I hope you enjoy it.